Good morning. Streaming live from the house, waiting for this hurricane or whatever is coming. But looks like just gonna be a lot of rain throughout the day, so we need to all just be safe. But wanted to take precaution this morning, obviously with the news and everything going, to make sure that everybody was safe. And I'm excited this morning to really kick off the second part of our alliance. So I wanted to take time. I was thinking last night for a while, and just hearing from different things, just adversity that people had to go through, and where we were at for the push period. And as I thought about it, I said, I really want to share, thoughts that have really helped through the years, because one of the things that I know personally that I've had to undergo, and as an office through my years in Cutco and just in life, is just adversity. And the fact is, there's people that, regardless of adversity that hits, regardless of what happens, still go out and succeed at a high level. And instead of making excuses and utilizing whatever goes wrong as the reason as why they didn't achieve their goals, they use it as fuel, and they really use that to drive them to the next level. And I wanted to talk to you guys and go through really five keys that I've seen through the years, just I guess strategies that have really helped out when going through a different adversity. And the first one, I've got 5 things. The first one is just always looking for, you could call it the flip side, or really looking for just the lessons in everything. Like I think about where heroes, heroines are, like when they have adversity, they're always looking for the quote, silver lining. And I pretty much lost my voice from talking so much, so excuse me. But, they've, through all the misfortunes, through everything wrong, that happens, they're always looking to grow from it. And I know anyone who's coached with me and will coach with me will always hear one of my favorite books is Maximum Achievement by Brian Tracy. And he talks about, and there's a billionaire Clement Stone, who is known for being an inverse paranoid. And what that is, every time anything goes wrong, he just feels like everything in the world is conspiring to do him good. So there's always, if something goes wrong, it wasn't wrong, it was just something that he needed to strengthen him, a lesson that he needed to learn, something to help him to get to his goals and just like where he wanted to get to. So they're always looking for that. So when those, bad things happen, are you looking for the hidden good that comes from it, to really learn and grow and help you go past any, like obstacles that you have. Someone once told me obstacles, I've heard 2 things. One is, they're the stepping stones to get to where you want to get to, right? So some people see them as roadblocks while others see them as stepping stones. And another quote that I had heard once that really hit me hard was that obstacles were there to see how badly you wanted what was on the other side, and what do you look at? And that leads me to my second point of just focusing on the goal. I've been at so many different events, I've met so many different people, and I've heard so many different stories. And the fact is, when you know what it is you're going for, when you know the end result, that's where you're going to get to. Imagine if you went, you went on a road trip, and you just went, right? And you're just like, oh, let's go wherever. that's cool. But if you just kept doing that forever, and let's say you had a plan of getting to like a certain destination, but you didn't know where you wanted to get to. Well, if you were driving and there was a roadblock that came in the way, how would you get there? Like if you don't know where you need to go, you can't reroute to get there. You have no idea where you're going to end up. And that's okay in some instances of adventure, but when you're trying to achieve something, you really want to know where it is you want to go, because that goal is what's going to drive you. That goal is what's going to keep you moving, so that you really do get to where you want to go. So a powerful way to frame what you're doing is to just always remain focused on the outcome of everything you do every day, everything that you do, because you can't help but be encouraged and inspired to keep going if you're really focused on the outcome. So making sure, again, what's the ultimate goal of what you're getting done? Why are you doing this? Where do you plan to go? What'll happen when this gets done? And I think about for this summer, just the power of that. Some of you guys were at SC1 and you had the opportunity to hear Mario speak on just goals and tying customers in. And I remember, coaching so many young people in our office, and some just like him, and just seeing like the detailed, detailed plans, but the clear vision as to what they wanted to gain from this. Knowing there were certain skill sets that were going to allow them to run the future businesses that they wanted, to get into the grad school they wanted, to attain certain promotions with us, because they knew by running their business with our company, it would allow them to have the skills to go out and open their own, art store, or they had their own music store, art studio, or their own skate park, or their own, medical facility or pharmacy, or whatever firm that they had, or practice, whether they had their own medical practice, or law firm, or accounting, or, whatever it was. But they had a clear vision as to how succeeding with this and attaining certain goals would help them for their future. And I think about, have you sat down to really think about how this will benefit you, what you can gain from it, so that you're not just meeting with Miss Jones and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm doing this, it's really cool stuff. And you don't have like why you're doing the weird knife job, this is such a weird job. And really, when you're able to explain to the customer what it is that you want, where you want to go, it's not just for the customer, even though that's huge, because it does tie them in and get them excited about being part of that journey. It's also important for you, because when things go wrong, you have your why, why you're working, what you want to gain, and that's bigger than whatever you're going through. And so by focusing on that goal, whenever anything happens, you're still going to be able to get there, because you know why it is you want to get there, and you're so excited about that result. And that leads me to my third point, which is, don't see obstacles, see solutions. And so many times, like, people focus on any of the problems and difficulties along the path. Like, something happens and they're like, oh man, this went wrong, or this went wrong. And guys, that's never going to get you anywhere. So when things aren't going exactly where you want to go to, you need to be able to stop and just look for solutions, look for ways to get around that, all right? Our mind is so crazy powerful, and it really tends to focus on, it finds whatever we're looking for. Many of you have heard of like the law of attraction, and whatever it is that you're thinking about, whatever it is that you're focusing on, that's what your mind is bringing to you. So that's exactly what's going to happen. And I remember hearing once, like, the universe is there to serve you, and it's like, your wish is my command. And when we're like, oh, this isn't going to go good, this isn't going to go good. Well, you know what? It's not going to go good. And when you're focused on positive results and what's going to happen, you're always going to find a way to get there. If you're seeking out excuses to like fail or justify, a decision to not push forward, you're always going to find those excuses. You're always going to find those reasons, again, as to why it's not going to work or why you shouldn't do it. And you'll find them with different setbacks, constraints, limitations, whatever it is. But if you just really focus on, man, I've got to find a way, like past these restraints, breaking through the level of success that I want to have, magically solutions happen. And I've seen that happen just even in our division this past week with certain offices saying, like, I'm going to find a way to hit whatever goal it is, or I'm going to find a way to get to a certain level or to double my report or whatever, whatever it is that we're out to attain. And guys, most people are just, again, always so focused on everything that's going wrong. And the champions, the people that succeed in life, are always looking for ways to find solutions. They're always looking for a way to really relieve whatever's happening, all right? So making sure that you're always focused on, how can I make this happen? Not what's going wrong, but how can I get the success that I want? How can I get there regardless of what obstacles? So again, always look for solutions versus focusing on the obstacles, all right? Number 4 is ask for help and support. All right, so the best people are always looking, they're not trying to do it on their own. And that, goes with the last point too, which I'll talk about. But the best people, they're always looking to people who have already done it, people who have succeeded, and asking for help. And I'll tell you guys from experience, this was really difficult for me when I first started with Cutco. I had a lot of pride. I was very successful with most things I did. I was, straight A, honor roll student, 4.0 GPA in high school, valedictorian. I was captain of the basketball. I led praise and worship. I was always an overachiever. And even going to college, I was in the honors college, and I had a lot of things that I was always working on. And I never liked asking for help because I felt like it looked like weakness. I felt that asking for help, just showed like I didn't know what I was doing. But the fact is, there's people that have achieved at a higher level than you, and they've done it already. And you can shorten your learning curve by asking questions. And I remember being a new district manager and really struggling, in 2004, really struggling in 2005, and questioning, like, is this where I'm supposed to be? And even in any different role, and as I've moved up in the company and developed in different years and moved to different territories, and even moving here. I mean, we've had one thing after the other. My first week moving here, my car was totaled. I was rear-ended getting onto the I-10. Like everything went wrong with our office. We were a month delayed moving in. They weren't able to get things done that we needed. They had to do certain construction. We were running our office in a little side room in our building that was just so shady, and I've been here for 13 years. I've dealt with all the, oh, it's a scam and all that. That doesn't faze me, like when I started, there was all the internet stuff and all my friends who told me, Kat, it's a scam, don't do it. It's such a waste of time. You're not going to make any money, all these things. And I was just like, all right. But then I saw people that succeeded too. And instead of listening to those other people or trying to do it on my own, I did ask those guys, hey, how do you do this? How do you get good at this? And I remember that's how I learned how to get good. But then for whatever reason, when I became a manager, it was like, I can figure this out on my own, and when I saw myself really not where I wanted to be, I remember going to a conference, in 05, a manager conference, and meeting some of the greats in our business at the time, our national championship managers, people who had won multiple silver cups. They were top 5, top 10 in the nation every single year, and just hanging out with them and just asking questions. And guys, as human beings, we can't just live in isolation, as attractive as it can sound sometimes. We need people around us for a lot of different reasons. And having more people in your circle is generally a good thing, and when you feel like giving up, ask for help, ask for support. I think about the challenges that are scaring you, threatening you, to break you, they're usually not as rare or unusual or even impossible to overcome as you might have thought. I know for a fact that as I talk to people and as I've gone through adversity, and even people that I've coached, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going through." There's so many things that I've seen happen over and over. Some things are really negative, and unfortunately, it stinks that so many people have to go through it, and other things, it's just certain ways that we feel, and you think like maybe that's just you. You're the only one that feels that way. But I'll tell you guys, even the most confident people struggle with self-confidence, struggle with just really dealing with adversity, and they just really question themselves, and they question their ability, and you never even imagine, like you would not even think that that's the case. And I know even for myself, I always grew up like, oh, you have to hide your weaknesses, you have to just show strength, you can't show that you struggle. And the fact is, everybody struggles. I've struggled, I've questioned myself, I've questioned my ability to get stuff done. And guys, like when you are able to talk to other people and ask for help, you'll find that many of them at some time have felt the same way. You're gonna meet a lot of people that were in the same boat, and it's pretty crazy. And you can really tap into their experience and their wisdom, of people that have had difficulties like you and are able to really share their experiences, how they went through it, how they overcame it, and they're able to help and support you. And it's a really powerful thing, and I think about even in this push period, I've talked to some different people, and I've interact and just kind of seeing where they're at, how they're feeling. And for those who haven't had the start they wanted, it's very easy to feel discouraged at this point. And guys, I want to encourage you guys, like, just don't let things get you down where you haven't had results. Take pride. And one of the things I learned in Cutco that'll serve you throughout your life is to take pride in your actions and continually keep pushing forward, because I feel like the universe, God, whatever you believe in, always rewards that. There's always a good that comes out of it in whatever form it is. And sometimes it's not exactly what we thought or we wanted, but it's what we needed. So sometimes we get what we wanted, sometimes we get what we need. But being open to the process, being open to the journey, being open to the lessons, and know that people love to help other people, especially when they've like faced or overcome a similar challenge, because it feels good to be able to kind of pass it forward and say, oh my gosh, I went through that. Let me tell you what I did. All right. So just ask someone about the most simple things, and you'll see what can happen for you. Chances you'll get like just a ton of people wanting to help you and pour into you. And guys, having supportive people in your corner will keep you going. And that's one of the biggest reasons I love Alliance, is just having a group of people that can encourage you, can support you, finding accountability partners, finding people who are after the same goals as you are, something that's just really exciting, and I think really goes a long way, so making sure you do that. And guys, number 5, and for anyone who came on late, first we were just saying, look for the silver lining in everything. Look for the lessons, look for the growth. Number 2 is just to focus on the actual goal. What it is that, what is it that you want to go out and achieve. And if you don't know that exactly, making sure you take time to know why you're doing this, where you want to gain, where you want to go, how it's going to benefit, what's the exact thing that you want to get done, how's it going to get done, and just knowing those things, because that'll bring clarity, energy, and focus. And the third thing was, don't see obstacles. See the solutions, making sure you're always looking for the solutions that are out there. And these are things, by the way, from a great book by Adam Jackson called The Flip Side. And he shares like dozens of stories of people who've been beaten down by life, crippling accidents, misfortunes of birth, social or economic, political circumstance, just sheer bad luck. And all of these things that combine to break people down. But he talks about all these people that, did not give up, like they didn't give up, they fought back. And it's really cool to see and hear about all their stories. And that's something you guys can check out, on your own, but it's pretty fantastic. So fourth thing was ask for help, and support. And the fifth thing is engaging with passionate groups, and that is definitely one of the things that I love in Vector, and probably the thing I've loved the most, throughout my career here of 13 years. One is the support that we were just talking about, but not just support from people that we have that have similar goals and are going similar places, but just the passion of the people that are here and work here. I remember being brand new and meeting people, and I said, wow, like they love life, they love helping, they love serving, they love growing. They're really focused on becoming the best version of themselves. And that was just really attractive to me, because I knew that I always wanted to keep improving. I always wanted to get better. And that's something that I saw here, through all the leadership, through all the management. And I also really wanted that. And guys, passion is definitely contagious. When you hang around passionate people, it rubs off on you. And I remember initially seeing people and going like, what is wrong? Like, why are they so like happy all the time? Why are they so positive, right? I achieved a lot. I was a pretty positive person, but I was also really good at like complaining and being like, dude, this isn't going well, and this isn't going well, and what's wrong with this, and what's wrong with that. And I was just really good at always pointing out all the negative too. And just, being around a lot of passionate, focused, hardworking people who really work at solving their own problems, living out their passions, their dreams, their missions in lives. Like those things can really help you move forward regardless of what it is you're going through. Having those people that just pour in. And guys, the same exists when you're surrounding yourself with the wrong people, right? Like they're always looking for the worst in everything, and like, oh, well, this can go wrong and this can go wrong. And that'll quickly suck the life out of you. That'll quickly suck the energy out of you. And it makes it so much easier to give up on things, because nothing's going to go right anyway, right? And so when you surround yourself with those type of people, well, it's really hard to succeed. It's really hard to push forward. So make sure you're choosing your friends and your network wisely. And even, by the way, in our offices, unfortunately, some of those people are there. And I remember seeing people that, were always like complaining, and we're always saying like, oh, this is wrong. Or even like in phone time, they're like, man, no one's picking up, this or that. And they were just like always complaining. And I remember my manager even getting rid of one of those people. They're like, look, you're not gonna be able to work here anymore, because he understood that by having people like that, like that spreads. Just like having positive energy and lots of enthusiasm, that spreads. What is it that you want spreading? What kind of a person are you right now in your office? Are you the person that when things aren't going well, you want to just complain and make sure everybody knows, like, this isn't going well, I had a bad day, I had a bad demo, I had to cancel, I had to reschedule, and you're just like shooting out just like what's not going well? Or are you shooting encouragement and positive stories? There's a difference saying, I had a no sale, I had a no show, and just spreading, having to get something off your chest, but just spreading negative energy, versus I had a no-show, but I made 15 calls. I booked an immediate, I went over, met a freaking awesome person, sold whatever amount, and I got 30 recommendations, finding a way to make things happen. That's inspiring. That excites me, that when I have a no-show or a no, I'm like, heck yeah, I'm going to hop on the phones like Julie did, and I'm going to see if I can make something happen like that too. So think about right now, because I've even seen some posts from people and it's just like, this went wrong, versus like, what action did you take? What did you stay focused on? Hey, this didn't go how I wanted, but here's what I did and here's what I created. That's exciting. That brings energy when you create something great. All right. But always looking for the passion, the excitement, the enthusiasm, the positivity to spread, because we get more done that way. And that's why managers are always shooting positive updates. We're sharing hot news and what's going on. Use it as fuel, use it as what's possible for you. Because I know there's people too that when they see other people succeeding, they feel bad for themselves. Like, man, I wish that was me, man. And they just kind of bring themselves down versus going, awesome. Like, that's awesome. I want to do that too. And the fact is, we all have the same knives. We all use the same training manual. We go through, many of us, very, very similar or the same training because we use the national, videos for that. And it comes down to, your belief, your excitement, your vision with this program. Because why does someone sell way more than the other? Well, they're passionate, and people get tied into passion. And I've shared these stories with people that have worked with me or coached with me, but I had a rep even just last summer this happened too. And I always talk about, how do you tie customers in? Are they excited about meeting you? Are they impressed with who you are, where you're going, what it is that you want to achieve? Because customers get excited about that. All right, they that vision, that journey, they want to be a part of that story, and say, I helped in that success story. I was part of that. Like, they are excited to be a part of that. And I was thinking about this representative I had, right? And I always share this with people, right? Like, tying people in, sharing your goals. Well, he felt kind of weird, and he's like, I don't know that they really care about that. And he was just being real with some people that he knew, doing his demos. And as he shared his story, he told me, he's like, so I saw this like doctor, a family friend or whatever, and he was going through and he told them like, oh, I just, I'm just like checking this out. I'm just trying it out, and it was so funny because the family friend who was a successful doctor shared with him the same thing. And he's just like, what do you mean you're checking it out? Like, don't say that to people, And it was a whole analogy of like, if let's say the doctor was donating money to a student going to med school, right? And he had this like driven kid who was like, yeah, I want to be an orthopedic surgeon. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to go to blank med school. And they had it like all mapped out. All right. Or they met somebody who was like, oh, I'm gonna like check med school out and just kind of see where it goes. I'll, just see if it's for me. Is that the person that you wanted to? Who would you give a scholarship to? Who would you want to donate to? Obviously, the one that knows exactly where they're going, they're going somewhere, and you're excited to be a part of that process. You're excited to be a part of that journey. So think about for you right now as we're going forward. And I think about for the summer, I think about, with Cutco, outside of Cutco, and specifically right now for the push, what is it that you want to keep? We set out with this 10K Alliance to go out and have a 10K push. I don't care where you're at. I have seen people sell $7,000, $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 in just 1 to 2 days. And guys, we have 9 days. And yes, today's going to rain a lot, okay? And so we have the tropical storm that's going to hit us. And like, who gives a crap? This is where the stories are made. This is where you go, you know what? I had this happen and this, and there was like sex trafficking or whatever happening, or whatever random stupidity is going around, which they've all the news has already said it's completely silly, and it's Cutco, and it's a student job and whatever, dealing with that. In 13 years, I've never dealt with that. It's so silly, but whatever. So there's a new thing. And then we have this hurricane, or tropical storm coming to hit our division, all right? And by the way, this is a week where we just had our biggest week as a division, all right, that we have had. Biggest week, and it's so exciting to see. All our offices are open. Everybody's popping. Like, boom, finally, we're ready to shock the world. And of course, boom, who's getting hit with this whatever rainstorm and tropical storm? If you look at the radar, it's exactly our whole division. The Gulf Coast is getting knocked with whatever rains are about to come, and we can be like, dang, like, we just got everything going. We just and now this is going to come. And I love, and I'll tell you from our leadership is freaking awesome. And they're all ready to take this thing on. They're all ready to make some magic happen. I've gotten messages already, and it's just so fun to see everybody just ready. Wasim, over in Southeast, he's like, we're going to swim to our demos. We're going to have a pool party, whatever it is. Like, we're going to find a way to make things happen. Like, this is not going to stop us. Seeing Nisa, like, they're right on Lake Jackson at the edge of, Lake Jackson. And they're just like, yeah, no matter what, like, this is going to happen, like, or we're not going to sink. Like Jasmine's not going down. And I'll tell you guys, all your managers, like they're super excited about what's about to go down. And I know from all my years in Vector and just like my experiences in life that some of the most amazing accomplishments, some of the biggest stories have come from the biggest challenges. And when I saw, the storm and the radar, and some of you guys might have seen it or they showed it to you. And for those who haven't seen it, this was the radar, and we have from Corpus Christi up to Beaumont, and Beaumont's right over here, so it's a little bit to the left of Beaumont, the trajectory for where the storm was going. And so I saw this last night and I said, of course it is. We're about to shock the world, and here we are. How could we think for a moment that everything was going to be easy? It's not. The biggest success stories come from overcoming the biggest challenges. Nobody's inspired by, everything went great, everything went perfect, like we just did this and this happened, and that doesn't inspire anybody. It's those amazing stories of people overcoming adversity. It's the people that never gave up regardless of what happened. It's the people that didn't lost their leg, but then went out and raced and won these different championships. It's the people that had to close down so many different businesses, but then ended up being one of the most successful millionaires or billionaires. Like, that inspires people to push forward. Can we be that story? Can we be, as GCK, the inspiration for the nation of the people who underwent some of the most the biggest adversity as we were opening, as we were just getting started as a baby division? And can we be that story that they're like, oh my gosh, look at everything that they went through, look at everything that they had to overcome, but yet we still stayed on top and we went out and beat everybody. And we showed everyone that no excuses, champions find a way. We find a way to make things happen. We find a way to create the results that we want. And that's something that I'm excited about really bringing to us. I'll tell you guys, for years and years, that's something that we have been known for. That's something that Miami, my office, myself and my staff was known for. Our motto is champions find a way. And we went through so much adversity. And we broke every record when I first moved to Miami, and all these things happened, everything that could go wrong. We got kicked out of offices. We had to move. Phone lines were lost. Negativity that was happening. It was nuts. And yet we had our biggest summer and the biggest year in Vector that year to date. And it set us on a trajectory for 7 national championships, guys. And I just, when I think about that and I look at now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I don't know why all this is happening. And then I have to sit back and go, you know what? I was like, it's time. Like, we're being poised for greatness. This is where the magic's going to happen. And I'll tell you, I come from hurricanes. I'm from South Florida and Puerto Rico. We've been hit over and over and over and over. And some of our biggest campaigns, some of our best reports came when we said champions find a way. And I remember my first 2 years as a district manager accepting what happened and going, woe is me, woe is me. We weren't able to achieve our goals because, this happened and that happened and we had a hurricane and, everything was shut down and we couldn't do anything. Yeah, we have a hurricane and we have job. Guess what? People aren't going to work today. Like, a lot of people are staying home. Maybe some are going to work, whatever. People will be home. It is an easy day to do virtual demos, We might lose electricity. Hey, go to your neighbors. People will be home. Take a freaking candle. We did candlelight demos. I remember in fall of 2005 when I'd come back from training with somebody. We finished the year strong that year, and I'd kind of given up because I was like, man, we were knocked out. We had no electricity. Like, South Florida, Miami was knocked down for 3 weeks, by the way. No gas stations. It was crazy. And we just said, we're going to find a way. We had our biggest month. And we had our biggest, December. We broke records for the company. We had some of the 2 biggest months in the Eastern region history, and we achieved a level of that even without a hurricane was really hard to attain, and being knocked out. And that was the story, and people would talk about it all the time, all right? And again, can we be that story? Can we be that inspiration that, we got hit, our whole division got hit, right in the middle of the playoffs. It is the playoffs right now. Everybody right now is competing. The whole nation's going at it. And then, we have this storm. So are we going to be like, oh, I guess we're not going to win? No, we're gonna at the end celebrate and go, dude, check what we did out, check what we did. Like, you know, this came, we all of our demos canceled, our live demos, but we did virtual demos. And then, you know, my neighbors were home that are always at work because of the storm. And so I went and saw my neighbors, you know, candlelight demo because electricity went out. Dropped $2,000, dropped $3,000. Today's an amazing day for phone time. You're gonna reach everybody. Everybody's home, you know, everybody's there. So again, find the silver lining. It's like, we're gonna reach more people. We can get a hold of more. We can see people around us. They're easy to see. We can get virtual demos done. We can find a way to make things happen. You know, can you load up your whole week from making phone calls today? You know, can you have 5 demos tomorrow, starting early before the team meeting? Can you have 4 or 5 demos on Thursday? Make sure your Thursday night phone jam is open. Do not screw with your Thursday night phone jam. Everyone throughout GCK, 4:30 p.m. last demo, and then 9:30 p.m. you can go do another demo or like a late night. That way, when you finish your 4:30, even if they take long, you can grab some food and you can hit the phones, because Thursday, ideally, you're making 100 phone calls. So you can load up Friday, Saturday, and you can do 7 or 8 a day, all of those days, all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. And guys, we're looking to make a huge statement. So regardless of what happens today, all this will pass here in the next, you know, day or two. It's going to be rain, it's going to be whatever. But how big will we make this weekend count? How much can we get done today? How productive can we be today? How good can we get with our skill sets? Can you practice? Can you get your 8 and 9 down? Can you get your 15 down? Can we find a way to get 3, 4, 5 appointments done virtually or live around us? Can we make phone calls and load up the next 4 days and make sure we're set up for success, so that when we do have those demos, we go out and we absolutely crush them. So guys, I just want to tell you guys, this is a time where GCK makes its name. This is where GCK will be the .2 division for any kind of adversity. Are we gonna take it, own that, and really create a story that's worth telling? Or are we gonna fold and make excuses? That's not what I'm about. That's not what I've ever been about, and I'm definitely not gonna start now. So let's go out and make some magic happen. Let's go out and have the biggest week. This week will be the biggest week that GCK has ever had in the history of this area, of this territory. And that's the goal. And by the way, we just had our biggest week of the year, selling over $300,000 as a division. And the goal this week is, how do we take it to $400,000? And that's going to take an effort from every single person in this group. Every single person throughout our division will make an impact for that. $400,000. So we're going to be counting it down. We're going to be talking about it. Every office has their goal to double last week's sales report. How big can we take it? How exciting is it going to be? Keep me posted, shoot me messages, post on our GCK Alliance, post on our Facebook group. Definitely want to know what's happening, guys. So proud to represent what will be known as the Find a Way division. You know, we breed champions. That's GCK, Gulf Coast Kingdom. We breed champions. Mission Silver. Let's get it done. Have an amazing day. Those of you guys on right now, rock calls. This is a great time to make phone calls. Let's load up live demos around you. Load up virtual demos. You know, maybe you don't want to drive too far, and that's cool. Do them virtually, and let's just create. Use today as a big study work day, and see what you make happen, and see for the week. By the way, we also have SLDM at 11 a.m. Whether it's live, we'll see how the weather's going. I'll have an update by 9:30. Those of you guys who are further away, we're gonna do live stream from your offices, just because the rains haven't hit land yet. So we want to be cautious of that, and I don't want you guys just driving in nasty weather, whether it was a hurricane or not. I don't like people driving in really nasty weather. I don't like doing it either. So just make sure you're driving safe. But Tropical Storm Bill is getting close to landfall. So let's just make our calls. We will live stream for SLDM, and I'll let everyone know that's close by 9:30. If we're going to be doing it live from the office, or if we're going to just live stream from where you're at, and we'll have a sign-in so you can check in and sign in. Those who are on, we'll get everything out, all the articles that you're going to need to make sure that we crush it. All right, so I will see many of you guys 3 hours from now, whether I see you live or I see you virtually here. We'll get some great stuff done together. So let's make things happen. Champions find a way.